Hello again. Today we are going to be reviewing this Nikon Nikkormat EL 35mm single lens reflex film camera for my eBay listing. This will be available for sale and it will be listed as pre-owned or used because it is in perfect working condition, and the cosmetic condition of this camera is extremely well and good. I have a battery that we're going to use to test this camera with. It's an A544 type battery, similar to what is found in the Canon AE1, I believe. It may not be, but I'm pretty sure that this battery is used in the Canon AE1 as well. Which would make sense because this camera was released at around the same time. This is a fully electronic camera, obviously. You need this battery for the camera to operate. The battery does not come with the camera, but I thought it'd tell you the model number of the battery so you'd know which one to purchase if you intend to buy this camera. This camera is pretty loaded with features. This is a pre-AI, pre-auto indexing camera, which is why it has this little peg here for the pre-AI lenses, or the non-AI lenses. So first I'm going to share with you how to open the battery compartment. So this camera does not have a battery insert on the bottom or on the side grip like the Canon AE1. This houses the battery inside the throat of the camera, inside of this mirror right here. So what do you have to do? There's a mirror lockup feature that I usually don't go over until I'm towards the end. But you flick this up, like so, and the mirror will flip up. Let me do that again. Flip down, flip up. You can see this little compartment right here on the bottom. Let me get a screwdriver so I can point to it. See this little flap here? That is your flap for your finger to open up the battery compartment. As such, positive terminal goes to your right. I'm going to do it on my end so I can place it in properly. Make sure it's nice and snug, and you can close the compartment up like so, and then you can release the mirror lockup as that is done again for you. So you wouldn't be able to take pictures regularly or normally without that mirror being locked back down. So I believe I actually have film in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewind the film that's in the camera so I can properly demonstrate. Yeah, we definitely have film in here. Alright, you heard that click. That means you can rewind a little bit further. So the leader will come out. I'm going to figure out how to open. Okay, so this has a locking mechanism like on the Nikon FA that I made a video about yesterday. Right here on the side, unlock and pull up. Okay, yes. This has some Kodak 400 inside of it, partially used. So now we can go ahead and continue to test the camera out. So it has an aperture priority or automatic setting here. This will meter for the light. I don't have a lens, but I have verified that this meter works properly. This is what I call a more advanced metering system than the Minolta SRT series with the needle and the lollipop, is what I call it. It does have your aperture numbers and your shutter speed selection, so that is fine. I am going to now run through the shutter speeds. There's this little lock on the top here, this little silver button. If it's in automatic mode, you have to press this button down and turn it to change the modes. So this is at 1/1000th of a second. One 500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, which happens to be the flash sync speed, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, 1/4th, 1/2, 1 full second, 2 full seconds, and 4 seconds. And then you have your bulb setting. If I had a lens on it, it would say stop down. The shutter remains open, or the mirror remains up as well, until I release my finger from the shutter button. So that is that. Let me go back to a higher shutter speed and test the self-timer. So I want you to notice that this camera is off right now. A lot of Nikons had this mechanism where you had to sort of open the advanced lever a little bit until you saw a red dot or something like that. This would indicate that the camera is on and the meter is working. This would indicate that the camera is off and the meter is not draining the battery. So be aware of that when you're out there shooting with this camera. So open this advanced lever a little bit. You see the red dot. I'm going to advance, and then I'm going to move the self-timer down and half click, and this starts the cycle. And there we go. That was the self-timer release. Now, this camera also has a battery check function. I'm going to turn the light off so you can see that better. It's a little button right here. And what's great is that it's working on this version. So usually these cameras don't have that battery check light working anymore. It's been burnt out, but as you can clearly see, this model, it works quite well. And that helps with the value of this camera as well. Hot shoe on the top, not the advanced hot shoe of, let's say, a Nikon FA that I reviewed yesterday. This was mid to late 70s, so they didn't really have all those advanced connections for a flash back in the day. Here is your your aperture follower ring. I'm going to put that in quotations because this is a non-AI, pre-AI camera. You would have a lens that would have those little rabbit ears that would look like this. And that peg follows the aperture all the way down. Like that. And it was a pretty good system for back in the day, but I would prefer something like the Nikon F3, where you can put automatic indexing lenses and non-automatic indexing lenses on the camera. So that is that. This is your ASA selection. But you can see this little silver lever here, and this is your ASA selection. You have to push this in, and it will remove the lock. So now it's on 500 something. So I'm going to move it back again. So you can see that that works properly. Cosmetic condition of the camera is extraordinarily good for something that's this old. I mentioned that the battery check light works. There are very little amounts of, dings or scratches, but it does show its character. It's very dusty because I haven't used this camera in a while, but I definitely will clean this camera up before I put it out for sale. Pack it up and ship it out. But I do want to point out a few things. There's a scratch. You can already see it right here. There's also a tiny little dimple indentation right there on the front of the camera. There's also another one right here on the prism of the camera. There's also a few scratches here, but they are covered by the advanced lever when the camera is off. The bottom of the camera has its classic tripod bushing scratches. The bottom plate on this is not very undamaged or untouched from the tripod. I mean, it's scratched all over, so the metal tripod did its job to sort of scratch up the bottom. I do want to say that this camera has very little brassing. So these black cameras were made from brass and they were painted black. I can see very little brassing, which means that this was taken care of quite well. So that's that for the cosmetic condition. I am going to remove the battery now. And I don't think there's much more to demonstrate. All right, the battery's now out, and everything's back to the way it was before I started my testing. So, this is at the point where I say thank you for watching, and please look into my other eBay listings for sale. I have many, many cameras on my eBay store, and I will try to continue to, get more cameras in for sale. I have not been listing things in a while, but I plan to pick that back up around the, fall, winter seasons where people are trying to get Christmas gifts and things like that. So I will be putting these back up for sale on a regular basis. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I also forgot that this camera does come with the strap. It's a little pliable, but it does seem like it's pretty fresh and it's not dry or cracked anywhere. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please look at my other camera listings on eBay.